back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we are reviewing the ever so popular franchise with all its trimmings.
We're going back to nature here.
Going back to nature, and going back many, many years as well, too,
All
called The Planet of the Apes. And you know the first few ones are done by Charlton Heston. And,
Well, he was in them.
And
he didn't do
what's
them.
the other guy who plays one of the main apes in it?
Roddy McDowell.
Yes.
Yeah.
He plays...
Now, one of the reasons why we're doing this is I believe there's another Planet of the Apes due to come out this year, is it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we thought, well, why not revisit the franchise?
Yeah, because
yes.
I may want to review this one coming up, and I want to go back
to its origin.
to the original.
Where the first bananas were going.
Yes. So we're going back many, many years, back to 1968, where Charlton Heston did the first of the franchise.
He was the first one. He was in the first movie.
He was in the first and the second movie, but then he dropped off.
Yes, he did. But the second movie had what's his name? Blah 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 blah. I got his name written down here. Another well-known actor. I can't believe his name written down here. Doesn't matter.
That's okay, Mike. I can say we're cross-examining all the franchise here, guys. So we won't be we will try like usual to talk about the first movie.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about the first movie and gloss over the other ones and say how wonderful they were.
Yeah. Try to explain how they came from A to B, or to Mike's would probably put it to ape to chimpanzee.
I thought it was funny. Ape to chimpanzee.
I think someone else has already beaten you to that joke.
I think someone's already done it. There's nothing new
possibly
nowadays.
On The Simpsons.
Okay, what have I got here? Okay, produced by Arthur Jacobs, directed by Franklin Schaffner. Mm-hmm. Screenplay was by Michael Wilson and Rod Serling. Now, everyone knows Rod. He did the original Twilight Zone, Night Gallery. He did some other thing, something else I can't remember at the moment. But anyway, he's well known for those things.
Yeah, I found out, guys, when I was doing my own research on the Planet of the Apes, I found out it was an actual book written by a French person, obviously.
Okay, what's his name?
Pierre, I don't know his last name. Boulez.
Boulle.
You may have looked at his book and had your thoughts about the movies.
Actually, I believe in the book the ape colony civilization was more advanced than what they depicted in the movie, but to keep costs down, they backgraded it a little bit to make it a little bit more rustic because they didn't want scientific apparatus all over the place and different things, because then your set costs are going to go up and everything else. You know. It's all about the money as well, you see.
So they kept it, outdoors.
Outdoorsy. And actually, it's quite funny you say outdoorsy. The Ape Village was done in the back lot of the studios. And they did a lot of location stuff.
Like in deserts and stuff.
Well, actually, I picked up I got the locations here in a minute. Here it is. Filming took place California, Utah, and Arizona, with desert sequences shot in and around Lake Powell, Glen Canyon National Recreation Area. So that area, I don't know the area, I'm not American, so... But yeah, they did a lot of different things there, and it looked so damn good. Mm-hmm. And they did some stuff, I think, some shots at Malibu on the beach near the end of it. So where they had the
the famous ending scene that we still talk about today.
I think that was at Malibu, and the other shot where the cave, the archaeological dig was. I think that was the same general area as well.
Yeah. Anyway, that's where the famous scene where you may see Charlton Heston crying out, "You bastards! You destroyed it! Blah blah blah!" Type attitude.
Exactly right.
But it has become one of the everyone knows
see that
ending.
Clip,
It's one of the many twist endings that to this day would have been talked about. Anyway.
Now budget. You're going to like this, guys.
This will be interesting.
And this is probably then money. 5.8 mil. It box officed at 33 mil. The studio was obviously over the moon. That's why they made a sequel and another one.
Having Charlton Heston in it would have taken over the edge.
I think obviously back in those days, Charlton Heston was, I wouldn't say the poster boy, but he was one of the well-known actors of the time. He had he'd been in the biblical movies like your Ben-Hurs and stuff. He'd been in was the Battle of Midway?
I don't know.
Well, other movies, and he was really, really popular back in those days. So having him as a main star would obviously be a good draw.
The Harrison Ford for that time: heroic, good-looking, well-received, and loved by females everywhere.
Yeah, I used to like him back when I first started seeing movies with him in it when I was a young teenager type person. I used to like his movies because he did a good delivery.
And as he got older, he was still liked because just like Sean Connery, who got older,
he got better.
He was still considered a good-looking man, even if when he was close to getting to grandpa age, obviously. But he's still respected and still loved. And if Charlton Heston was still around, he would probably be still loved and respected.
Now, just something before we get into it. Mm-hmm. The franchise, like, you hear about this other franchises and stuff, yada, yada, yada. Okay, you've heard it all before. But here you go. Planet of the Apes' success launched a franchise, including 4 sequels, as well as a television series, an animated series, comic books, and I think there was maybe some PC games. It just went on and on. So it's really
And there was only a 1-season TV series that didn't last long.
It might not have been great, or maybe bad timing or whatever. I vaguely remember seeing it years ago, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it had Ronald McDowell in Roddy McDowell in that one too. So he played.
He was in a TV series.
Even though this was done in 1975, as I recall, looking it up, so it wasn't too long ago since he made it, obviously. So in a way, it's kind of great that he managed to still do it, still managed to get his face out there, even though most of the time he's covered in prosthetics and special effects makeup.
Well, actually, it's really funny when you saw I was covered in makeup. There's something about the prosthetics.
Yes.
You still knew it was Roddy McDowell. I'm not saying he looks like a monkey, but his facial expression sort of came through a little bit.
I felt the same.
His body, his facial muscles, because they're using latex or something, and it was giving with his facial movements as well. It wasn't a hard mask. So, when he made the way he looked for his eyes, the way he held his mouth, the way he spoke. There's a few things. Yes, Roddy McDowell. You can see it.
Not knocking my previous production when I did Attack of the Cat People, but I did think the makeup they did in Planet of the Apes was really sharp and very, you could not see.
Its time,
you can't see any faults with it,
no,
except for some people who now probably
it didn't look like a mask, even though it was a mask. They put some. I think the front part around the eyes was like a mask, and they blended it into the skin a bit like they did with the creatures in Babylon 5 and stuff. They did the same, so they had some sort of a loose mask, and they put something around it, and then they blended it in and different things, and then build up around the mouth. Actually, that's another thing too, the mouth part, to make it look like chimpanzees. That was so much layering there. They had trouble drinking water and stuff. So they really, really had to sort of, be very dedicated people, because it must have been very uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of we considering.
Like an onion,
Anyway, so we know Charlton Heston's in it.
Chucky's in it.
So we also know Ronnie is obviously Roddy's McDowell.
Roddy. Like in Rodney. Roddy.
Rodney,
Roddy,
whatever, is in it. So we don't need to actually talk about the other actors in this, because I'm talking about the franchise, and we could be discussing the actors.
And you have lots of other people. There's a lot of. I'll mention some other people. Actually, I'll mention a couple. Do I have them? I might have them here, but I've got a couple of them here. Here you go. I'll go through them quickly. Charlton Heston played Taylor, George Taylor, he was an astronaut. Roddy McDowell plays Dr. Cornelius. Kim Hunter plays Dr. Zira. Morris Evans played Dr. Zaius. James Whitmore plays the President of the Assembly. Anyone else have any notoriety there? No, no. Well, they're the main ones anyway. So yeah, a lady called Linda Harrison plays Nova. She didn't have a speaking role because she's a mute. But
that's what's interesting about that sort of thing. When you have an actress working on a project and she is the most noticed, it's weird when you don't have very much dialogue.
Not at all. She couldn't talk. Mm-hmm. Humans can't talk in this movie. Anyway.
Well, except for Charlton Heston, obviously.
Well, the other ones. Okay. Now, we want to get into telling the story, or are people going to go to bed now?
Okay? Okay. So the story begins with our astronauts out in space, they've been traveling for gosh knows how many, whatever.
I'll give you a bit over it. Blah, blah, blah. Taylor, Landon and Dodge awake from a deep hibernation after a near light-speed space voyage. Their spacecraft crashed into an unknown planet. Taylor's estimate placed them in Orion's Bellatrix system, 300 light years from the home solar system. That's about all the information we have.
Yes. So they think. Anyway, so they wander in a desert-like environment. They kind of land in some water, and then they had to get onto a raft and swim and paddle to the mainland, if you call it that. The shore, the mainland.
Are you sure? I'm sure.
And they then they go in search of possible life and anything else I can think of. So they travel quite a bit. It's hot. It's humid. It's a lot hotter than here. You get my meaning.
I know, man. It's pretty hot here today. It's over 30 degrees, and humid.
They soon arrive at a lake where they decide to go for a dip, and there their clothing gets stolen
by unknown thingy-wingies.
Yeah.
We find out later they're human-type creatures.
Yeah, they are actually just like the man from years ago where we
like cavemen.
Yeah. Anyway, and they're not alone, obviously. Soon enough, we see these weird ape-like people who are trying to trap them, kill them, and hunt them, obviously.
Everyone needs a hobby.
Oh, yes. They hunt our free astronauts. One gets away. Charlton Heston's Taylor, obviously. He gets shot in the neck and...
Captured.
Yeah, captured. And his friend gets shot, whom we later find out he's in a sort of stuffed museum.
Yeah, he sees him in a display in the local Natural History Museum. Nice. He's a friend of mine. Okay, right.
He gets taken to sort of a prison, obviously, where Zira, a lady ape who studies the humans, in her care, and she notices dear old Taylor and calls him Bright Eyes, I think.
Because he sees something in his eyes as a spark that the others don't have.
Yeah, he even tries to communicate with her, even though his voice is badly injured because of a gunshot wound.
He's his vocal cords are paralysed a bit from the trauma from the shot in the neck. Yeah. Even though it wasn't severe, it was enough to take his vocal cords out for a little bit.
She treats him really nicely and even gives him Nova, the mute girl.
She was cute.
And
what a good present.
We think they may have been doing things. We don't know.
You get on with it.
It's not important. Anyway, he eventually tries to convey to Zero that he's not like everyone else, but some other ape who knows about the past, knows about the history.
Dr. Zaius knows everything about the mankind's fall from grace and the destruction of the world.
Yeah,
he read some old books and manuscripts and archaeological digs and different things. He was a very wise thingy-wingy.
Yeah, there's a bit of area that they're not allowed into, which is the area where our free astronauts came from, which is sort of the forbidden zone. Yeah, that's what they call it, supposedly.
Keep them out of there. He said, Dr. Zaya said, used to have forests there, now it's a desert. So,
yeah. Anyway.
Obviously something went wrong.
Of course, Taylor tries to escape a couple of times, and eventually he speaks after his vocal cords got better. And he calls the apes, "Get your hands off me, you dirty ape," in a nasty way.
Not very nice.
The apes are blown away by this.
Wow. A talking human.
Never in their lifetimes they have experienced a human ever speaking, because the other humans, they barely even talk, obviously. Anyway, Zero and Cornelius try to help him to get permission from the council and help Taylor, but they see him as a threat.
Exactly.
And they want to have him,
They want to
killed.
lobotomise him and neuter him so he can't breed.
We also found out his live friend, has been lobotomized too, obviously. We saw a big patch of his hair gone and a very big scar on his head, which indicates being lobotomized.
Someone's been in there. Yeah. Hello,
And-
hello.
And of course, Zero was never informed about this, realizing that Dr. Zaius probably ministered this thing, obviously.
He did it. He did the operation. So,
Yes.
Yeah. Naughty Dr.
Supervised.
Zaius.
Anyway, eventually they help Taylor to escape, and they also helped him to get to the forbidden zone so they can find evidence about that the humans came before Ape. They eventually find something, and Dr. Zaius, he tries to attack them, and of course, they eventually they kind of get him as hostage eventually, and they show him the cave. There's a cave there.
To try and prove that there's something more to history than what they know.
They found there the sort of the notches of how many years back Earth has been around.
I'll talk archaeological terms here. Different levels of dirt and rubble and stuff have different areas of occupation. Okay. So you see going through, so that area goes back so many hundreds of years or whatever, 1,000 years, and that next level goes down further. And he goes down this bottom level. I found these things here, and he had things he didn't know what they were, but they were clearly made by an advanced civilization.
Yeah.
And they found things like false teeth, spectacles, a heart valve, into a heart, when you put a valve in your heart, pacemaker type thing, those sorts of things. And you go, wow.
Wow.
But Taylor knew what they were.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they also find amongst the remains a human doll. They could talk.
Wait a minute, they found a human doll, and Dr. Zaius said, we've had those for our own children, like saying we have teddy bears and stuff. But then they moved it, and it went, Mama. The monkeys never made a talking human doll because
They never knew that humans could talk.
Couldn't talk, so why would you make the doll talk? Aha.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, he then bargains with Zaius to allow him to go free and have equipment, food, any essentials that he might need in order to probably, try to find out the truth.
And Dr. Zaius said, you may not like what you find. Now this is getting towards a clincher because we're getting near the end of the movie here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He then, when Taylor rides off,
He gallops off into
with
sunset with Nova on the back of the horse.
Dr. Zaius, he orders his troops to seal the cave.
He blew it up. They blew it up, yes.
And
Bang.
both Cornelius and Zero, they were all going to be tried
for heresy. Charged for heresy, yeah.
And then later on, when Taylor and Nova are riding, we then see the site that we've been talking about.
So it is the beautiful scene. He comes along the beach and he's looking at something, and we see the back of it. We see, don't know what the first part is. We can't recognise it, and then you see the top of the head of the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, and you got those little pointy things on its crown.
Yes.
And he starts to realise that.
Oh damn!
Shit, he's not 300 million light years away.
He's
home. And you go, what the hell, you bastards? Yeah. And what did he say there?
He says, you blew the fucking thingy up.
He didn't say fuck. Effing.
Well, he didn't say the fuck word. But he just said, you bastards, you
blew it up. You
it
destroyed
up.
everything. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
and then...
He had a meltdown.
Yeah. And then the credits, we fade out in the credits roll. All the time, there's no music playing in the background. We just hear waves from the
crashing on the beach.
Crashing on the beach.
What a good ending. See, there's no band then, you see. There's no musicians and stuff. There's no sound studios.
Well, they did have sound studios.
No, they weren't. They were all monkeys, the picture.
Yeah, true. But it's a different change. Instead of sound, we're left with sound, obviously. Sounds of waves, and
actually sometimes less is more, and that's
I agree.
To me, that's onomous sort of yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
Groovy.
I think it was a good ending, and it made way for a sequel, which came out in 1970. Who directed that one? Was it the same director, or was it?
I can't remember. I've got everything written down here, crikey. What do you think?
Okay.
You think I'm wait a minute. I guess I've got reams and reams of paper here.
Give him a minute, guys.
I've got lots of things here.
Yeah,
that's a reboot. No, I haven't got the directors and stuff here. No, I do have for the reboots or whatever, but not for the old ones. No.
Okay, so I'll give you the title: Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
What was that about? He asked knowingly.
Oh, it's a continuation story of Charlton Heston's character Taylor, who is searching the deserts, and he
disappears through like a holographic wall or something or other,
a
rock, and Nova goes back to find help, and he finds this other guy.
Yeah, it turns out a rescue team from after his rocket disappeared.
They sent a rescue rocket
a new rocket,
and they crashed as well. Isn't it funny?
Funny.
And they crashed nearby, and Nova finds what's the other guy's name? Brent. No.
Brent. Yeah, that's it. Brent.
Whatever, and so they end up going back to that general area, but for a different way, and they go into the underground world, which is where some remnants of real human society that can still speak.
Mutants, probably.
Mutants, yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
right.
they kind of. He does meet the apes, of course, and they help him try to find Taylor.
Oh, that's right, Zero and Cornelius.
Yeah. They don't go on his journey with him. They naturally just guide him through where he needs to go, obviously. And they actually changed his clothes because he's still wearing his astronaut clothing.
Yes, he had to change clothes so he wouldn't stick out.
Yeah, the clothing that no doubt the humans wear are stinky and bad.
Well, not stinky. They're pelts of animals and stuff, but like old cavemen would wear stuff. Yeah, they would smell a bit. Yeah,
so these people, the mutant guys, I call them the mole people because they live underground, or they just...
Well, why not?
And these guys are psychic. They have psychic abilities.
They don't need to talk. They can project thoughts into your head. And actually, if you've got an enemy, you can actually make them see things or believe things which aren't really there. So, very clever.
Yeah. Anyway, eventually, they worship this missile. Doomsday
bomb. It's a doomsday bomb.
Doomsday bomb missile. It looks like a missile.
Yeah,
it looks like a rocket.
It's a bit like a small rocket. It's huge, and they're worshiping it. Yeah, and they're saying things like,
"Oh boy."
The Apostles' Creed and different things, and and that sort of stuff to it, and replacing God with bomb and stuff. You go, okay, society's really going down the pits,
Yeah, well, anyway, even the apes, they have their own set of religions.
They have their religion. They very similar to ours.
Yeah, where they believe ape is more important than man.
Yes, so do we. We believe we're above the animals, and they believe they're above the animals. Same as us.
So, anyway...
And apes shall not kill apes. So we say we shall not kill. And they had their god structure and different things. So they had they had laws. So they were good apes to a certain degree.
Anyway, at the end of that movie, Charlton and the other guy, they both kick the bucket. Before that happens, the apes invade the mole people's environment, and they're about to turn on the doomsday device.
Activate the bomb, yes.
Not aware that what would happen, obviously, but luckily enough, Charlton appears. He's injured. He's bleeding, and he tells them "damn you all," and he then presses the button on the doomsday device.
We're supposed to do a chain reaction, which actually destroys the world.
And a narrator goes on saying that there is a bright speck green planet star in the galaxy, and now it's dead, indicating Earth has died, is no more.
Now, this is the part that gets me. The next movie is called Escape from the Planet of the Apes, where Zero, Cornelius, and another one.
Milo,
yeah. Escape in Taylor's old rocket. Now, a couple of things get me here.
Oh, boy.
Taylor's rocket actually landed in a lake and sank to the bottom.
And while Brett's one is in the desert somewhere.
It broken in pieces. It hit the ground very hard. Now, they came back in Taylor's rocket, spacecraft, whatever. Now, Milo was a smart ape, and he figured out how to operate a thing. But the thing is, how did they get their rocket out of the ocean, the lake or whatever it is?
Yeah.
And how did they launch it, not knowing too much about it? And how much time would they have had? When were they actually looking at this?
Good point.
Before or after the Doomsday Bomb actually went off?
Yeah, and considering that the amount of time they met Taylor and the amount of time they talked about the spaceship, the amount of time, I don't even know how.
Yeah, so
it's
the
not
time
enough.
frame doesn't quite work for me.
The amount of time,
but still a good story,
is difficult to pronounce. Considering that you still need petrol to operate the thing.
Fuel, yeah.
And you still need to know if the devices
Things
work on there.
Things might have been broken, and you'd have to actually upright it somehow. You have to have some sort of way to launch it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they launch it like a rocket or like to take off like an airplane.
Yeah.
I don't know how it takes off. So
if you actually watch airplane, thingy wings, you see that most of the time these ones would have things attached to it, and they break apart when they kind of launch the like
rockets and stuff.
Like
but they're flying through space to go back home, so it can traverse space, but it may not be able to take off.
Yes.
So it's only a small shuttle type thing, so it's not huge. And actually, that's another point. The size of it looks bigger on the inside. Just like Doctor Who's TARDIS.
Oh, another thing. Me and Mike were talking about it, and we were wondering, how did they manage to go back in time, back to when Taylor first set it off on his journey to
I have a theory. I have a theory.
Go on.
I think there's a wormhole or something or other there. And when Taylor and the other guy who were coming in this area, they came through one way. Okay. All right. And I think that took them to the future.
Yes.
Whereas the other guys, when it took off, they went back in the other direction and took them back to the past.
Yeah, I like to think that makes a lot of sense.
I sound like a scientist, don't I? Really good.
A lot of times in movies like Star Trek or any other sci-fi movies, they always bring up the wormhole, which would then indicate you would go to the past or to the future.
How about a time warp? Let's do the time warp again. Okay, never mind.
Anyway, they eventually... So this next movie is called The Escape from the Planet of the Apes,
and that's
which was released in 1971.
That's what we were just talking about.
Yes. So in this one... So this one where the current planet of Earth is destroyed, and
the Doomsday Bomb went off, and the monkeys tell the people in our time, or they're not, when they came back here, that they saw a big flash, and then the surface of the Earth went all gooey and like lava.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was it.
Yeah.
So we killed it again.
Yeah. So Zira, Cornelius, and Milo, they get onto the ship and they head to back in time, obviously, and eventually they arrive, in Taylor's time.
About 1960 or 70 or whatever it's supposed to be.
They're the people in America. They think this is the possible missing astronauts that never came back.
And the monkeys get out of the spacesuits.
Yeah.
Okay.
They salute them and they get the shock of their life. They take them to a local zoo, or not local zoo, just a local zoology stuff, where they try to try to figure out if they are intelligent. Which
well, considering they flew the rocket home, can you do it?
Yeah, I think the funny bit was when Zero... Well, they all discussed it, that they won't talk to them, but Zero has a disagreement with Milo and says, if we don't talk to them, how are we going to know who's our friends and who's our allies, who our enemies are?
And the funny part is they're doing tests, and she's acing every test because they're aimed at a
child level,
because Gorilla's got a mental capacity, say, a 4 or 5-year-old. And she's obviously a mature adult, and she's doing, done that, and they hang up. They're trying to feed her a banana, hold on the string, and they said so you got and drop it in the cage a little bit higher. And the idea is you got to put some blocks together to walk on, climb up onto, so you can get the banana. So you figured out what they wanted, so just put the block there, and then sat there. And they said, "Why isn't he going to eat? Why isn't he taking the banana?" Then she turns around and says, "I don't like bananas."
Yeah.
That shocked the crap out of them.
It shocked the female scientists a great deal, obviously. Anyway, Milo gets killed by a real gorilla, obviously. Well, not real gorilla. He's still wearing a costume under that.
No, a gorilla from their time, the old time. Yeah,
obviously.
So an animal one, not a human gorilla thing, whatever.
And, of course, eventually they get to talk to their government officials, but they're told... But both Zero and Cornelius decide not to tell them about the destruction of Earth and the history that will happen. And, of course, the part about Taylor, they don't want to talk about Taylor, obviously, because if they told them what became of him, they
might not be happy.
They won't be happy about it. But they do tell the two scientists that they interact with, they tell them that they knew Taylor, they loved him, they were good friends with him, and they knew that about the destruction of the Earth, about what Mike was just saying, obviously. And the scientists realize, and I think you have a good point not telling them.
Yeah.
You make...
Sometimes the truth can be dangerous.
Yes, it can be. I mean, there's a bit of truth in that. Anyway, they then are treated like celebrities, like famous, like famous
actors
stars
or
something.
rock stars.
They get go into the most expensive
nice
hotel, get the most
nice
expensive clothes. And they're treated like celebrities, and of course get a lot of gift baskets. No bananas, I hope.
Well, a lot of fruit baskets, considering they're vegetarians.
Yeah.
Bloody vegans all over the place. I don't know.
Don't go there, Mike. Anyway, but one of the scientists, I guess he works for the government, he is not satisfied with what
he's suspicious.
They told him.
He's always looking at... He's one of those narcissist, nasty, negative type people. You know that type.
Yeah. He gets... When Zero is... he gets Zero drunk, and he gets information from her, when she's passed,
He gets her a bit plastered on a bit of alcohol.
Yes. And here he tells his superior that they should start putting them under lockdown, obviously. And also, we found out that Zero is pregnant with Cornelius' kid, obviously. And this
a bit of monkey business?
This could mean an end to their mankind as we know it if this kid grows and matures.
Yes. We don't want these guys breeding.
Yeah. They plan on disposing the child and having her and Cornelius snip,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Having her tubes tied.
Or whatever. Anyway, they then
being nice.
They then take them out of the hotel, get them into their usual drag, the clothes they arrived in, and eventually Cornelius attacks one of their orderly guys.
He didn't mean to kill him.
He didn't mean to kill him. It was
He's being threatening to his wife. Yeah,
calling her baby a monkey.
Yeah, and everything.
I can understand that. That type of thing, saying that about another person's child is not right.
You were my little monkey.
Yeah, and I still don't like
cute.
it. But I can understand that. If you kind of use the wrong term for a different type of ape or gorilla,
so there was apes, there was orangutans, and there was chimps. Yeah, but they had different classes. Yeah.
Anyway, they escape and they meet up with the scientists and they take them to a circus friend of theirs who owns a circus, obviously.
Ricardo Montalban.
He's really nice. He tells them about a gorilla that he owns that has happened to have her own baby, obviously. And, of course, Zero goes into labor, and she gives birth to a healthy baby boy, obviously. And they decide to name him Milo, after their dead friend.
Isn't that lovely?
Of course, while this is all happening, they make plans of letting them to sort of hide in the circus. But the government guys, they're going to start searching every zoo, every circus attraction in the area or anywhere.
And they're taking zoos, circuses, anywhere you can hide an animal.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the scientist guys work out there's a place, sort of an abandoned boat yard.
It's a naval. It's a boat But I think it's on a boat graveyard where they park all the old battleships and other things.
Yeah, a boat graveyard, and they give directions to Cornelius
It's
to
not
get
too
there.
far away.
And while off screen, Zero kind of trades her baby with the gorilla's baby. Obviously,
Yeah, yes.
They don't look too different. Obviously,
They're both hairy.
yes, no one noticed.
Yeah.
Anyway, eventually, they as they're going, Zero kisses the scientist goodbye, and so does Cornelius to the female one. She did this with Charlton Heston in the first movie, and she remarked how ugly he was. Considering that he was really attractive back
Just
then.
close your eyes,
Right. But I think she was grateful. Anyway, so they travel to the boatyard, and eventually the guys work out where they are because Zero left her bag, when they were going through a sort of, where was it? A gas...
They had to go past an oil rig type thing.
Oil
It
rig
was
things?
to pump the oil out of the ground, gas, whatever.
Yeah.
And had to go past that little field and the boat harbour, whatever's on the other, the wharf, whatever.
The government guys
on the other
made
side somewhere.
strict orders not to have them harmed, obviously. But the scientist guy from the government, he wants them,
destroyed.
He
thinks
killed.
they're a threat.
Anyway, so he heads down there with a gun and makes plans of killing Zero and her child and Cornelius. Of course, there was a shootout. Cornelius also got a gun from the nice scientist guy, so to protect them, or not protect them, if they'll take their own lives if things go so well.
Yeah, exactly right.
Anyway, so they eventually had a gunfight. Cornelius dies, and Zero, in her last strength, she got shot. And her baby is killed too, but she throws the dead baby into the water, and the evil scientist, he got thrown into the water too. And
did he get shot or something? Or?
Yeah, he gets shot by Cornelius, I think.
Yeah, no, Cornelius is shot at him because his wife and child are being chased and shot and different things, and he was getting a bit upset by now. Yeah.
Zero walks over to her dead husband and
crawls over
and lies next to him.
And they die together.
Then we cross over to the circus, and we find out about how her son's going, and I think the ringmaster knows that she left her son there.
Didn't
obviously.
he have the thing around his neck?
Yes, he wore a saint. I don't know which saint it is. I know it's the saint of good travels, obviously.
St. Christopher medal or something, I know. But
St. Christopher.
But the baby's laying there being cuddled by the mother ape, and it goes, Mama. Aha. Straight away, baby sweet Sharuni. Okay.
Yeah. The next movie that is called
Can you speed this up
The
a tad?
Conquest of the Ape, Planet of the Apes. This one was released in 1972, and this one was. Well, it deals with the apes being slaves, which is mentioned in the throughout the other movies, where they said the apes were a replacement for the dogs and cats.
The disease went through, and it could be the original one which hurt the human beings, and they killed all the dogs and cats off. And people wanted pets, so they started having pet monkeys, or apes, or whatever, and they found they can train them to do chores.
When Zero and Cornelius arrived in the spaceship, it's brought not only them, but a disease that wiped out the animals.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, wiped out
we did know about that at the beginning.
Cats.
It came out later on. Yeah. So the chimpanzees, some sort of from the future, had a disease which took out the dogs and cats.
Yeah,
My
Milo
cat was very upset.
is now renamed Caesar. So you guys remember, this is the name that's going to be throughout this franchise, throughout history.
Yeah, Caesar.
Yeah, and he's raised by the ringmaster.
It's not the same Caesar, because I think the name's been handed down. Because he shows up in other movies 700 years in the future.
Yeah, this one is raised by the ringmaster, and eventually he gets to see the treatment of the apes, obviously, who are forced into manual labor, obviously, mineral labor, stuff like that, and he decides to do a revolution.
Yeah, a Spartacus or Barabbas job, Free the slaves,
After witnessing his adopted human father being, dying, obviously, he decides to take his anger out on the people who are savage humans, obviously.
Yeah,
So he gets his the apes together and starts bringing them together to start a revolution, where they all start ganging up and start getting things like, guns, sharp objects, stuff like
knives, kitchen knives, meat cleavers, flamethrowers, anything they could find. A flamethrower, well, not a flamethrower, but something like a flamethrower, because obviously they work for their masters, and whatever their masters had, they just stole.
To cut it short, guys, they conduct a revolution, and everyone who's been mean to them gets their come-ups.
Yes, and guess what? It worked.
And then we move on to the Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which is a few years later, and it was in 1973, obviously.
Which was that one?
That one deals with them making a small little colony, like just a small group of apes.
Was that one in the woods?
And and with a bunch of people, like humans, who are just working under them, obviously.
Yeah, like they're treating the humans, I suppose, a bit like slaves to help out, do domestic work and a bit of labouring and stuff to help out. Mm-hmm. But they still had a good working relationship together.
Yeah, but of course, one of them, who's McDonald, his brother, he was in the first, the other movie, obviously.
Conquest,
and in this one, he tries to help Caesar, trying to find out the truth about his late parents.
Well, not to you wanted a bit of guidance, wasn't it? So he took him to the
sort of.
There was an underground bunker in the city there, which was like a library archive.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, the original tapes of the interviews will be there. I know where they are."
Yeah.
So, we'll go in there and have a look.
Yeah. So so they go there, and so he says no, they don't know what's there. So they take along some weapons, and I don't know who Caesar left in charge, because there is this other hostile gorilla who thinks the humans should be wiped out. Period.
Yes, what a
he has a very aggressive attitude towards humans in general.
The gorilla of my dreams.
Anyway, so Caesar goes to the city, and we find out there's mutants living there who have survived an explosion down there. Wasn't there an explosion? You said something about the off-screen where they blew up some of the city there?
Yeah, you mean before?
Yeah, remember in the beginning it said that it
had been bombed or something. Rather, I think I'm not sure, but I get the impression that was after mankind had a war, like World War III or something or other, and that the city was pretty much destroyed, all buildings had been damaged and stuff, infrastructure was destroyed and whatever. Yeah, so I think it was after a nuclear war, which is the one which probably started the demise of mankind.
Anyway, so there is people living there who are mutated, obviously, and I imagine these people will be the same people from beneath the Planet of the Apes, like a little.
They're forefathers.
They're forefathers, if you will,
or five fathers.
I don't know. They consider they're living in an abandoned area, and it's
there's a radioactive area.
They're wearing the same headgear as they did in the second one.
But they're also in a radioactive area, so it could be affecting them. So
yes, slowly.
Very much.
Anyway. So they eventually find the tapes, and this is where Caesar works out that he must prevent, some things that are going to be
he wants to change the future so the world doesn't die.
And he doesn't want to create a division between human and man.
He wants to bring them together.
I mean, human and ape, obviously. So eventually they go back, and they eventually find out these creatures, the mutated humans, so they start attacking their home, and eventually at this point the hostile gorilla I mentioned, he tries to he doesn't quarantine, he jails up all the humans while this is happening, which could be more dangerous and fatal because they're in the middle of this is actually a shooting type situation where they're shooting bombs, they're shooting things into the air, could blow people into bits at this point in time in this movie. But luckily enough, they were able to fight the mutants off, kept a few prisoner, but the gorillas, they went ahead and kind of killed the ones who escaped, obviously. And this is where we find out that Caesar's son was murdered by this evil gorilla.
The gorilla,
by
Colo.
he was Cornelius, obviously.
No, the naughty gorilla. Colo or Cono or
Cono, I think.
Whatever. Yeah.
But his son name was Cornelius after his father.
Yeah.
Anyway, after he releases the humans, he then decides to make them equals, and he wonders if whether in the future will this change a thing. And we watch a man or a gorilla actually talking about the past tense. And we see him talking this story to a bunch of children apes and some humans.
Yeah, together, cohabiting.
So, and we see a statue in the back where we see the statue weeping tears.
Yeah.
Which means that maybe, just maybe, they may have changed something in the past.
And maybe it's too late to. Could we see significant saying, it ain't going to work?
We'll have to wait and see.
Don't know, you see.
So we'll only find out. Anyway, the next few ones, it's a different franchise.
Well, that was the end of the first franchise. They had a reboot franchise.
Yeah. The other one I should mention, I think it was the Tim Burton one.
Yeah,
that
was a remake in 2001.
Yeah.
It's a re-image of the original movie.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not knocking Tim. I love Tim Burton's work.
Me
Thank
too.
you very much for him. We didn't watch the other night. We were watching all the other ones, but I'm going to go back and have a look at it and see how he handled it. But we skipped over that because it's a remake.
Yeah.
Not because it's Tim Burton or anything. It's because we're going through the original movies.
Yeah.
How's that? Yeah. And now the reboot has so far 3 movies and a 4th one being made now, isn't it?
Yeah, as we speak.
As we speak.
So
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is due to come out sometime rather.
So this one
this year
here was called The Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which is released in 2011, obviously. And in this one, it deals with a different storyline where it says that Caesar was born to an ape that was in a laboratory where they were experimenting on a new drug that will cure Alzheimer's syndrome.
That's Alzheimer's, and the drug actually worked
to an extent.
On gorillas or your monkey. It actually did something to their brain cells and other cells to make them more intelligent, and actually helped to develop speech. So it changed a few things as well. But it was good for the chimps and everybody. It wasn't so good for humans, was it?
Yeah, it turns out that the head scientist, Will, that's his name, he injects it to his father, and while it worked for 5 years, but then
he regressed and it wouldn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So the antibodies in his dad's body, were actually fighting it and destroying him, so it wasn't going to work. So yeah.
Yeah, and we later learned that the mean guy who's in charge, the business guy, he goes ahead and he starts putting this drug into operation, selling it and stuff, not aware that this was going to bring down the humanity.
All he could see was dollar signs. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, while this is all happening, Caesar, he gets him confined with a bunch of apes, other gorillas and stuff like that, and where he befriends a few, but at the same time gets a few hostile times with other gorillas who don't like him very much. But he wins them over, and he uses the chemicals, the stuff that
and this one, what's the monkey? He was being taught sign language by his owner.
Kulba.
So what he did, he taught the other monkeys how to communicate using sign language.
Yes.
Very clever, hey?
He then uses the special chemical he was given and gives it to the apes he's been confined with.
To help develop them.
And you notice the chemical changing because their irises change colour, turning a bit of a
bluey,
brown,
greeny colour. Browny green?
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
You can actually see
it changed from gorilla-type eyes into human-type eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
After being mistreated by the handler who is the son of the owner, obviously, he gets his comeuppance, and Caesar even spoke. He spoke his first word, no.
Oops.
And eventually, him and his friends, they left, and they actually released the apes from the laboratory and released the ones from the zoo that he kind of saw last time he met. and they make plans of heading towards the Golden Bridge to get to
the other side of the bridge. That's supposed to be
woods,
a bush reserve, or a small forest or something rather, or a big forest.
While this is happening, they cause a massive scene. With
the
humans.
army comes in, and
the
stuff,
army,
and,
the animal,
protection agency,
everybody's everyone gets involved.
Uber Eats comes in there.
Yeah,
and
the guy who's Jacob, I think his name is. He finds out from his secretary that the chemical that they sold is now causing people to, in the antibodies, starting to get sick.
Yeah, human beings, some of them are actually regressing. They're losing their cognitive skills and later on the power of speech.
This was much
later on.
Anyway, Will tries to get Caesar to come home, but Caesar grabs his head, pulls him close, and says,
puts his forehead against his, and I think it's a way of "I love you, goodbye," something. Yeah.
No, he says Caesar is home.
Yeah, Caesar's home. That's right. Yeah.
He then realizes that Caesar is with his own kind, and it should remain that way. And then we later on, at the end, we see a person who's affected, who's the neighbor to Will, who got infected by his lab assistant, obviously.
Yeah,
because he got affected in the lab, and now he's going to be sending this virus global.
It was all
turning into an epidemic.
It was. It spreads very, very fast. I mean, he had it, and he was walking through the streets, coughing on people, sneezing on people in the shopping centre, and he gave somebody else, and that person went into a theatre and he coughed in there. And so, and people get on aeroplanes. They just show it. Like an aeroplane sort of chart type thing where they're showing all the planes go around the world, and all of a sudden you see, it's been spread worldwide.
Yeah, and you see the number of... You've probably seen it on the news when COVID the lockdown happened, and saw the number of people who catched it, obviously.
Caught it, yes.
And that is what makes me think of this movie. Every time I think about that happening, I keep going back to this movie.
Every epidemic has the same sort of thing. Okay?
I know.
Let's move on.
So the next movie is called The Dawn of the Planet of Apes, which makes me think of The Dawn of the Living Dead when I think about that.
Or Shaun of the Dead. No. Oh, yeah, whatever.
Anyway, in that one, the epidemic has caused problems, and where everyone's died, and there are only a few remaining people who are immune from the virus. But
that the one with the soldier guys?
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, not the soldier guys. This one's the second one where a bunch of people want to power up their little
generator.
generator.
That's right. No, the remnants of the people who are living in the city.
Yes.
Are running out of power resources, but the dam up the road, up in where the forest area where the gorillas are, was damaged during the war, but if they can get it to be repaired, it can generate electricity again to supply the city.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the people go to Caesar and say, "Would you please let us fix this generator? Then we'll go." And Caesar, he sees them as... At first, they act a bit threatening. One particular soldier, kills or injures one of the gorillas or apes, obviously. Killed him. And he gets annoyed because he doesn't want guns, because guns equals not
good. Yeah.
He tells them, "You can come, but no weapons." So they begin to make the fixing
the dam. Yeah.
The dam. Eventually, they were able to get it working again. And this is where he gets one of the other apes that was in the laboratory previously in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He doesn't like Caesar's trusting the humans because he tries to kill Caesar and takes control of his clan, obviously, trying to make up a lie that the humans killed Caesar, but Caesar was saved by the humans.
The man and the lady who he met earlier on, who actually had some doctoring gear, first aid kit, and they fixed him up a little bit.
Yeah, but they also did it in his old home. Will's home, obviously. Yeah, where he actually finds a video camera of his dad, Will. He called him his dad, obviously. and he saw the video of him interacting with each other when he was still a baby ape, obviously. He's a little sad, obviously, and he calls Will a good man, obviously. And eventually, he heads to... Oh, I should mention the man who's helping him is named Malcolm. I kind of forgot that name, obviously.
Nice
I should have remembered because of Jurassic Park, whenever I think
you
about
got on with it, otherwise I'll send you back to Jurassic Park.
Okay. So, he eventually bites the nasty gorilla, and he wins back his trust with his clan. Of course, at this point, the humans, they contacted, the soldiers because about their being hostile, and they need reinforcements to enforce and destroy the apes, obviously.
Yeah.
Of course,
however, doesn't go right.
Caesar knows this, and he realizes that his people have to get ready. And this is where the one Mike was just telling me, called the War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
With soldiers who were trying to exterminate him and his clan and his family.
And that didn't go very well.
Yeah, this one wasn't... that last one, I didn't say the date, was in 2014. This one is in 2017, obviously. Mm-hmm. And in this one, Caesar, he tries to find a new home for his people. His son and his wife, they get murdered by this general, colonel guy, who claimed that was him. I don't know. Maybe he thought Cornelius was probably his was Caesar, obviously. Remember?
Whatever.
He contacted on the
all monkeys look alike.
But luckily enough, Caesar appears, and he makes plans of taking revenge on this guy, obviously. He then sends his people in one direction while he goes and seeks revenge for his wife and his son. His other son is still a baby, ape,
he's
obviously.
a cute little monkey.
And he asks his loyalists to look after him while he goes seeking revenge. With a bunch of his other loyal apes, Maurice, a very big... What kind of... never mind, I don't think I'll go into
Morris is an orangutan or
yeah,
something. One of the big sort of flat faces, orangey colour.
Red orangey fur, I think.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, him and a bunch of other apes named Rocket and another one, they go off to help Caesar. And along the way, they meet a little girl named Nova. Or they name her Nova, obviously.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they eventually he actually gets caught by these soldier guys, and we learn that the virus has taken a mutated effect where it's affecting your speech and your thinking,
mental capacity.
mentalness.
So this virus was going to be the end of the human beings as we know them today, because they were going to revert to animals. Of course, they'll lack the mental skills and speech.
Yeah, the colonel, he eliminated a lot of people who had this thing happening to them.
Even his own
son, who also had this. And he thinks that the apes would bring an end to the humanity, obviously. And he thinks he should exterminate them and try to put humans back on top, but sadly, the virus won't let them.
No, and in the end, this soldier guy, he gets the disease himself as well, and
slowly.
He becomes mentally deficient and mute, and he wants Caesar to kill him, and Caesar just puts a gun next to him and walks out the door.
Yeah, well, they were actually even captured all the apes, the ones that were going in the opposite direction to try to find a sanctuary, and they kind of put them into slavery, just like they did in the past, obviously. And in this one, they were building a wall to keep out the enemy troops that were going to come and seize this guy.
Yeah, so the other troops were the good guys, troops, and these were like renegade sort of partisans or something rather doing their own thing.
Because if they were killing off the troops because of their mental capacity.
So the other troops come there to wipe out the bad troops or to take them to custody.
Mm-hmm. Or kill them. But
the monkeys would have been killed anyway.
Yeah, well, anyway, that will be an issue. Yeah. So eventually these troops come, and of course when they start attacking, the colonel's nowhere in sight, and we learn that that he has been affected.
Yep.
And
Yay.
Caesar doesn't go and shoot him or anything. He
just leaves a gun there next to him and says, shoot yourself, and walks out the door. He doesn't
realizing
say that.
he doesn't want to turn into his evil cohort.
He doesn't be like him. He doesn't want to become a human and become nasty and horrible.
Yeah.
He wants to be a nice chimp or whatever it is.
He does get seriously injured in this, and he eventually finds a new home for his...
Oh, yeah, a bit like Moses and leading the people to the promised land sort of thing.
Yeah.
They find a nice place with a nice big lake and trees and stuff to make a new home in, and at the end of it, his mate, the other gorilla thingy, Morris realises that he's hurt, and he sits down there under a tree or something and dies while he watches his tribe of apes and others enjoying the new surrounds.
Yeah, and of course, Maurice promises Caesar that he'll tell his youngest son about him.
And what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
then,
his memory will not die.
Yeah. Then the movie ends there, and I've often said this to Mike, that the whole Planet of the Apes type movies and the story makes me think about a little bit of religion stuff here and there, because I keep thinking about the fact when with Cornelius and Zero trying to escape nasty people trying to save their baby, makes me think of Joseph and Mary trying to escape the Romans.
Yeah, exactly right. Interesting. Yeah,
even though they survived, but the apes didn't.
And then a bit there, watching the last bit there, lead the monkeys to a safe haven, a promised land type thing. Yeah. Where they can grow and develop in relative safety.
Like Moses, Caesar dies when he gets to the spot.
He doesn't make it into it himself, but he's happy that he's got his people there.
Yeah, and that's what I feel about this movie. It has a little bit of it talks about religions, the apes' religion.
They had religion too,
their beliefs and stuff.
Similar to ours, not exactly the same, but similar.
Similar, like apes should not kill ape. We have one where it says man should not kill
human beings.
Another person. Yes. That's pretty much what we've often said, even though we don't follow it sometimes.
Tell those warmongering idiots that anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, we're running out of time here, folks. So,
however,
I'll let Mike talk whatever things left he has
blah blah
to say
blah
about
blah
this
blah
one.
blah 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 blah. I've got so many things. So many. Okay. Quickie. Okay. Reception. Good. There you go. Now, no, most of the movies have been well received. You get the odd critic who, I don't like this because they're idiots. They don't appreciate the movie genre. Mm-hmm. So tough. But apart from that, because here we go. Most of them box officed pretty well, as far as I'm aware. Sometimes I spent a bit too much money on them, and they still made money. War for the Planet of the Apes sort of broke even-ish, but I think the other ones made money. Yeah, I think pretty sure. Overall, the budget was about $567 million for all the movies, and it's made something like $2,127,203,256.
Quite a lot.
I think.
I wonder.
Unless there's a few more decimal points after that. So
I
they
wonder.
made a buckload of money. Yeah.
I wonder if the author's late family is getting royalties from these movies.
Oh.
Probably.
So irrespective, they've done pretty damn well. Overall, it's a good franchise which actually made money. Now, quickly, reception. Okay, right. Planet of the Apes got about it's basically Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. Planet of the Apes 86%, Metacritic 79%. Beneath the Planet of the Apes got 37 and 46. Okay. But there weren't a lot of reviews. Escape got 77 and 69. Conquest got 50% and 49%. Battle got 36 and 40. Planet of the Apes, the remake, 44 and 50.
Got it.
Rise got 82 and 68. Dawn got 91 and 79. And War of the Planet of the Apes got 94% and 82% respectively. So, apart from one or two aberrations there, they've all been pretty damn good.
Yeah.
From the reviewer's perspective, not from the box office, but yeah, most of them have done well. Now, here we go. Where do you get it? I'm glad you asked. But here's a few things. There are VHS tapes out there as well. There are 2 Planet of the Apes films. Yeah, the original one and the remake. Okay. Some of the dates listed on eBay and Amazon are not the movie dates, they're the issue dates of the Blu-ray or whatever the media is. So you got to be careful. There's also a TV series of the name Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, because if you're going to look, if say you were getting the movie, but you end up getting the TV series, you get into big trouble then.
Okay, now, so what I'm going to say is, when you go hunting for it, whether it's eBay, Amazon, or otherwise, find out, put in Planet of the Apes or The Planet of the Apes. No, I think it's Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes, and it's 1968. Now, if 68 doesn't come up, leave the date off. If it's a Planet of the Apes movie and it's got Charlton Heston in it, it's the right film.
Yes.
Okay. So eBay has it for sale, and this one and the other movies, I think they're all available as well. Amazon has it for rent and for sale. There's also lots of box sets there where you might have, not up to 9. One of them has 9 films in it, so that'd be about all the films.
That's a relief.
Yeah, so you have the whole pack at a reasonable price. It works out to be about $10 a movie. So if you really get into it, you see one or two and say, I like these, and you want to buy the series, go and buy the series.
Yeah, you're saving money that way.
Yeah.
And of course...
and lining the pockets of the distributors. No.
But you've got to admit, Mike, that is impressive how the
capitalism isn't a bad thing.
The franchise has managed to gain a lot of interest.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, this is getting long now.
Yes.
I'm going to give 2 gradings here.
Right.
One for the first movie, the original movie, and one for the franchise.
Okay.
I am going to give, I don't often do this, but I'm going to give the first movie, the 1968 Planet of the Apes film, I'm going to give it a 10. And the reason being is that it is so believable. Mm-hmm. The acting was good. The cinematography was good. Mm-hmm. The makeup was exceptional. They looked like these could be real. It didn't look like a mask. It looked good. The people who were playing the gorillas and the apes or whatever, they were doing the body motions. Everything looked like, hey, this is plausible. I can't fault it.
Me neither.
Okay, so I'm going to give the first movie a 10.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 10 too.
Now, for the franchise... because of one or two little things, I won't go into it in a moment. There's a couple of things I didn't like, how they try to put things together, and in the last one or second last one, they had a little girl called, we'll name her Nova. Well, and now that can't be the girl that Charlton Heston was paired up in the first movie, because he's the one who named her, not the gorillas. so the little thing that when they start to bend the storylines around and that sort of things, let's make a link, then it loses me because their credibility goes out the window a bit.
And also
George, I'm talking.
I was just going to say, in Beneath the Planet of the Apes, she does speak his name, obviously, and unlike in this movie, they have a different storyline.
I was in the middle of talking.
Go on.
Okay, so what I'm going to say, so I'm going to give it about 9.5, because those little aberrations, little things like that, irk me when they say, we'll bung that in. Yeah, no, it's not a link. It's showing how stupid you are, because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work, don't do it.
Yeah.
So 9.5 for the whole lot, but 10 for the first movie.
Yeah. Now it's my turn.
You go. I will not talk over you.
Just like...
I really won't. I won't talk over you. How? Where you go?
Shut up.
Where you go?
Will you
I'm
shut up?
For you. What's keeping you? Do you like it?
Give me a break. Anyway, my thoughts about this one is just like Mike's here. I have a lot of thoughts about each movie. Like, I didn't like too much the storylines in the second movie. Obviously, I liked parts of Escape from the Planet of the Apes, obviously, and those other two, the Conquest and the War. I thought they were pretty much a good continuation of the story, obviously.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
And now I get to the present, the new one, like the Rise of the Planet of the Apes and the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and the War of the Planet of the Apes. I thought they were pretty a good continuation. I like the CGI. I don't really say this.
CGI works as a tool, not to take over.
But I don't mind it as being a tool, and that still doesn't take away from the actor participating in this sort of thing. Obviously,
what are you going to rate that?
I'm going to rate the franchise 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, you get about CGI. It's like CGI and AI are good. They're not evil, but they can't take over from the human content.
Yeah, because most of these...
creativity comes from the human being, not from a cold machine.
Yeah, most of these people in the newer Planet of the Apes movies, they use people and they use the special suits, the CGI suits I call them, they still manage to use their face, the person pretending to be the gorilla's face, obviously, because you need something to guide you into saying the lines, obviously.
Didn't they use the same sort of thing they did for Jar Jar Binks, had a guy that had a sensor all over them? Yeah, and that's how it worked. So Jar Jar Binks came alive because of computers. So it's a tool.
Yeah, and of course these...
There's an actor inside it making it work.
And of course the actors themselves, they had to use their movements. They have to use their bodies to give off the appearance of a gorilla's movements.
And they did it really good. They looked good. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think this I think the franchise is great.
It's one of the better franchises I've seen.
I remember watching a couple of the episodes of the Planet of the Apes TV series. I'm sad to say that it was only one season, just like Logan Run only ran for one season.
Speaking of mention Logan, there was I'm not sure of the name. About the same period when they did Logan's Run and the Planet of the Apes TV series, I think there's another TV series called Forbidden Journey or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. And Roddy McDowall was in it.
Oh, cool.
He played a scientist, and it was also after things had happened to the world or whatever, and all societies and different things. Yeah, so it's this dystopian society type thing, and rebirth and rebuild and little colonies, and it always comes up, and it can make for a good story. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know where to find it, guys, and you know where to buy it and stuff, and you know our thoughts on it.
No,
obviously.
If you have, I mean, I'm not going to say some of you younger guys may not have seen the original film.
No.
Now, the old movies, there's nothing wrong because these guys there, they didn't have CGI, they didn't have technology the way we have it, and they still made a good movie. So if you haven't seen it, go and look at the 1968 Planet of the Apes. And while you're at it, there's a movie called Marooned. It's another sci-fi. And go back a couple of years earlier, Forbidden Planet. With Leslie Nielsen in it. You'd be surprised at what they got up to with that CGI and artificial intelligence and all the other stuff.
They still use matte paintings here and there.
The matte paintings worked, and the better productions did really, really good. So there you go.
So now we've coming to the end of our latest
I'm going to put my pajamas on and go to bed.
So I hope you guys enjoyed our latest episode, everyone. So I hope you guys check out the movie, like we said. And so that's about it from us, guys. So this is Sarah Stephenson
and me, Michael,
saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.